In 2009, I'm the guy who created the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. Now has close to 200,000 members. My mother grew up in St. Petersburg and graduated from St. Pete High just 6 months before the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in 1941. I attended North Ward Elementary School, Riviera Junior High, and in the afternoons, I delivered the Evening Independent newspaper on my bicycle for $15 a week. I attended St. Pete High and graduated in 1975. I worked at Papa's Dream. It was a teen disco inside the old Playhouse movie theater. I became the drummer for the house band as well as a disco DJ. In 1977, I was recruited by a company called Young American Showcase, and I began traveling all over North America as an entertainer and a motivational speaker to high school students. After 3 years of that, I married Karen, my wife of 44 years, and I continued touring with Showcase as a director for 10 more years. In 1990, we bought our first home in St. Petersburg, started a family with 2 children, a boy and a girl, and I played in a whole lot of bands at that time trying to make money. I even spent 2 years as a salesman and a photographer for Glamour Shots at Tyrone Square Mall. Some of you will remember that. In 1998, I was hired by Stetson University College of Law in Gulfport to work in the library as the AV guy for the school. In 2001, just 1 week before 9/11, I was also hired to be the leader of a rock and roll worship service at St. Luke's United Methodist Church on 5th Avenue North. I did that for 8 years, and we went through 3 different pastors at that time. Karen and I lived paycheck to paycheck with 2 children living in modest homes, but we flourished at our jobs and started doing a little better each year. In 2019, the I Love St. Pete Facebook group had reached 50,000 members. I had never allowed advertising in the group, but I felt like I needed to do something, especially seeing as I had friends who owned local businesses. So I created the Key Tag Rewards program, for which I had hundreds of little key tags made that just said, I love St. Pete. And I gave them to some of my friends who own businesses, telling them to pass them out to their customers, saying that the next time that they came in, just show off your key tag and you get a little discount or a free gift or something like that. I had one fellow who was a new restaurant owner, kind of off the beaten path, not on a main road. And he started posting his daily specials in I Love St. Pete. Well, he told me that his receipts went up 20% the first month that he was doing this program. Well, that was a great feeling, and I was getting similar reports from other people as well. And then came COVID. Well, the tone of the I Love St. Pete group changed dramatically during that time. Many people were posting about being in trouble financially, hoping folks would come together and help them out. At that time, we had about 65,000 group members, and I felt that I needed to do something. So I picked up one of these people who needed help, and I held a fundraiser for her. We raised $3,000 in 3 days, allowing her to buy a used car that she could drive 50 miles to work each day and back. It all happened so quickly, and people gave so much money so enthusiastically that I figured we really had something here. So I held another fundraiser for a woman who was disabled and elderly and didn't have anything to eat. After just a couple of days, we had $300. So I took that money and I bought $300 worth of groceries for Juliet and delivered it to her house personally. After 7 days, we had collected over $1,700 in that fundraiser, and that money went to other people who had similar needs as Julia. 2 months later, she contacted me again, and I gave her $300 to pay the rent. Now, keep in mind that every penny that's going in or out of PayPal is thoroughly documented, all right? Just remember that. And what I was doing was simply virtually passing the hat where group members could chip in a little money to help other members who were suffering. I took all the applications, I vetted them, and then I chose who would get the money and how much. I knew that we needed to make it a legit 501c3 organization so we didn't get in trouble with the IRS. Now, a tax attorney, Samantha Chakeli, volunteered to file the application. She also volunteered to be on our board of directors, and she even listed herself as the director. Well, then I set up a new PayPal account and a website with a donate button, and I gave our group members the opportunity to either make a one-time gift or a monthly pledge. Well, it started off great. We were getting about $3,000 a month in monthly pledges. I was receiving applications for assistance through the website, picking out people whose stories I could confirm 100%, and was giving awards to them according to their particular need, or just give them, whatever we had in the account at the time. Well, we got a lot of power and water services restored. I bought a lot of diapers and formula, a lot of groceries, and we even stopped some evictions. Now, by January of 2022, the group members surpassed 100,000 members. And at that time, we retooled the Key Tag Rewards program. We got rid of the key tags because people didn't really get it, I guess. And we set up a new website, a new pay portal where business owners could join the Merchant Rewards program and they could post about their businesses in the group every day. There was a small fee and it was affordable, and it helped me weed out the legit folks from the pretenders, as well as keeping out the spammers and the scammers. If we didn't charge a small fee for advertising and just let anyone advertise, then there would be 10 times as much advertising as there is now, and people are already complaining that it's too much. The Merchant Rewards program caught on very quickly, with local business owners lining up and signing up. I was working 5 to 6 hours every day just running the group as well as the charity, and still working full-time at Stetson and playing in a band on the side. So I took on a partner who agreed to run the Merchant Rewards program, which also took several hours each day. He had his own 501c3 organization, which was a traveling memorial to the 13 military service folks who lost their lives during the Afghanistan withdrawal in 2021. I agreed to compensate him by donating half of the weekly proceeds from the Merchant Rewards program to his organization. The other half of that money I had earned by selling advertising was put into the Emergency Relief Fund checking account to be used for charity business expenses. Now, when you run a charity, it's a business and there are expenses. Our advertising partners got exactly what they paid for. I had openly informed them in the group that I was donating their fees to support the Emergency Relief Fund, which was technically my money. I had promised also our group members that every penny they donated would be awarded to someone in the community who desperately needed it. In July of 2022, we got word that Karen's Uncle Tom had passed away in Illinois. Uncle Tom was a multimillionaire who lived very modestly in a small house and had no children. He left his entire estate to his 6 nieces and nephews. Now, knowing that we were about to receive a very large inheritance, we made a plan to retire from our jobs in 1 year and buy a nice home in North Carolina, where we had our honeymoon in 1980 and also spent many vacations. In September of 2022, I took on a second job, making videos for a company in San Diego. My monthly income suddenly doubled. Karen and I were now looking at more money than we ever had in our lives. We both retired in 2023 and moved into the home we would eventually buy. I had also received the first 2 disbursements from my 401k, tens of thousands of dollars, as well as receiving several $1,000s in compensation for sick days and vacation days that I never took. But then the inheritance money didn't arrive for a while, for a whole year. We ended up paying rent for far longer than we had ever planned for. But we were still okay. The money finally came, and at long last, we closed on the house, a full 14 months after we had moved in. What a relief, right? And then came August 14th. August 14th was a very bad day. On that day, I was made aware that a Facebook group had been started for the sole purpose of canceling me. You work for years to build something and to make something that will actually help people in the community. And here comes Wreck-It Ralph. He just wants to burn it all down. Apparently, there's some disgruntled former members of I Love St. Pete who had been banned from the group for inappropriate behavior and had got together to start a hate group. The group's admin's name is literally Cancel Stan. These people were very upset that they had been spoken to in a rude manner when they were dismissed from the group. Now, can I get rude and sarcastic with people when they're denying to my face that they did something wrong? Yes, I can. You bet I can. I'm close to 68 years old, and get off my lawn is definitely part of my vocabulary, if you get my meaning. Like a lot of other boomers, I don't deal very well with Gen Z types who act entitled and selfish and disrespect their elders. I wasn't raised that way. I'm sure most of you weren't either. People need to remember that my group is my house, and I built it, and I have been meticulously maintaining it with loving care for 15 years. I get thousands of daily visitors who mostly behave themselves without any issues at all. We get 1.5 million page views every month. It's a lot of work. We have never allowed bullies, conflict of any kind, politics, preaching, and I have been really, really good at keeping out nearly all the spammers and scammers because I'm fiercely protective of my group members. You know, it's nothing like so many other Facebook groups that are run like the Wild West where anything goes. It's my house, my rules, and that's okay. Well, it turns out that some people don't like the way I run the group, even though hundreds of thousands are just fine with it. So whenever somebody wants to get snarky and start speaking sarcastically to me or to somebody else, or bullying someone else, or spamming in the comments, they are unceremoniously dismissed. My policy is that sometimes I hear back from these people, and they better have an attitude of regret for what they did, or they will not be allowed back into the group. Fool me once, right? Well, some do and some don't. And that is the essence of the Cancel Stan hate group. They don't like the way I do things, the way I run my group, or the fact that they got dismissed from it. And their first objective was to cancel me and ruin my life through lies and distortions. On that very same day, August 14th, if that's not enough, I learned that our 501c3 status had been revoked by the IRS. And then I found out that happened because our tax attorney, Samantha Cicchelli, had been receiving all of our financial information from my accountant every year and then never filing the tax returns. There's a long trail of email messages over the years to Samantha that prove this happened without our knowledge. The first thing she said to my accountant when she was reading her the Riot Act that day was, "Oh, don't tell Stan I didn't file the returns." Well, then that hate group just started making up stories out of whole cloth about me skimming money out of the emergency relief fund to buy a $500,000 house in North Carolina, among other lies. They have filed complaints with the St. Pete Police, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, and even the Florida State Attorney General's office against me. It's my understanding that all of these organizations have told them to go pound sand appropriately. So who are these haters? Well, that's a good question because they're anonymous. They're wearing virtual ski masks to conceal their identity. They're like the Karens you hear about who roam up and down neighborhood sidewalks, knocking on doors, and they're complaining in their Ring doorbell is saying that you've got to take down those American flags, or your grass is 1/2 inch too high, or you can't have 3 cars in your driveway. You're ruining the neighborhood. I'm sure you've seen some of those Ring doorbell videos of people like that. Well, somehow they seem to have an awful lot of time on their hands to concoct stories. And even, they wrote an 83-page letter demanding that I give them answers because they have been so victimized by the big bad Stan Wolf. Ooh. One of these evil people is named Allie Ritter, if that's a real name, don't know. She went so far as to begin contacting people who we gave awards to and telling them that they had information to suggest that we didn't give them all the money that we had collected for them, and we were pocketing that money for ourselves. Well, they just made that up out of thin air, and successfully they turned some people against me. Can you imagine that? I gave one fellow over $6,000 for life-saving surgery for his baby girl, and he turned against me because of Allie Ritter's lies. There's a similar story about a young woman whose husband had dropped dead in May, and she didn't have the money for a proper funeral. And I collected over $2,000 during the month of June, and I sent it to her on July 1st. Allie Ritter contacted that poor woman who had just lost her husband and told her that we had kept $1,700 to ourselves. Where did she even get that number? What the heck is going on with these people? How can someone be so purely evil as to not only come after me for doing good things, but then involve these poor people who have recently experienced a catastrophic loss? Now, that is pure evil. I tried talking to these people rationally, but all I got back was, "You're a liar. You're disgusting. You belong in jail for the rest of your life." So I finally gave up, and I wrote a final post up there saying that in the end, all that matters is that the tax returns are filed and that it's all square with the IRS. And because I'm a Christian man and I worked in the ministry for a couple of decades, I said, "Listen, folks, I forgive you in the name of Jesus Christ." My last act was to reconcile the emergency relief fund checking account. I took that money and added it to the emergency relief fund. I didn't have to do that. And then I awarded $5,800 to Riley Mulligan of Gulfport, who lost her liveaboard boat and all of her possessions during Hurricane Debbie. And that was it. I signed off Facebook, I deleted my account, and I don't plan on ever going back. At this point, we may never go back to St. Petersburg ever again. We have no desire anymore. The charity has been dissolved. No one else who's facing financial emergencies will receive any help. And I removed myself as the admin of I Love St. Pete. Oh, yes. And that was it. I signed off Facebook, I deleted my account, and I don't plan on ever going back. At this point, we may never go back to St. Petersburg ever again. We have no desire anymore. The charity has been dissolved. No one else who's facing financial emergencies will receive any help. And I removed myself as the admin of I Love St. Pete. Oh, yes. I became the target of a hate campaign. And you know what? Facebook says it does not go against our community standards. Think about that for a minute. Well, now we're up here in North Carolina in our dream home with my family, courtesy of Uncle Tom. May he rest in peace. We have our inheritance. I'm still working from home, and I even get a full Social Security benefit now. These evil people wanted to make it out like I stole money from group member donations, effectively taking food out of babies' mouths. I haven't always made good decisions, but I sure as hell never stole money from a charity. I don't read what these evil animals say, so it doesn't even exist to me. They will not hurt my family, and my resolve will be living happily ever after. And for those sheep who are following the cancel Stan shepherd, I'll say this. True skepticism is a good thing. Being rigid and unbending is not. As soon as you stop listening to the other side, you lose all objectivity and you risk becoming a human stain from all the lies for which there is no evidence and no proof. I forgive you all in the name of Jesus Christ. God's love is an ocean. You just have to get in it. I hope you find your way to it. Peace. People got me feeling like Mike Lindell, My Pillow guy, getting canceled. Oh, wait, he got canceled. Oh, he got canceled because he was supporting Donald Trump, right? Let's see. Cancel culture, victimhood. Could it be?